a forgotten village, buried between dead fields and crooked trees. There was one. Only one. No river, no hand pump, no rain that stayed long enough. Just the well, and no one touched it. Children were warned before they could speak properly. Don't look at the well. Don't walk near it at night. And whatever you do, never pull water after sunset. The well was older than the village itself. Its stones were blacked, wet, and always cold no matter how hot the day was. Even birds refused to land near it. Dogs would stop barking when dragged past it, their tails frozen between their legs, eyes wide, staring at nothing. Everyone knew why. Inside the well lived something that was never human. At night, when the village lights died and the wind stopped moving, the well breathed. A slow, wet sound, like someone crawling in darkness. She came out only after midnight. They called her the Well Bride. Her body was twisted, wrong arms bent at impossible angles, legs folded forward as if they were broken and healed incorrectly. She did not walk. She dragged herself. Her white dress clung to her like it had been stitched onto her body. Her hair hung in thick, tangled ropes, hiding most of her face except her eyes. Eyes that never blinked. Eyes that looked straight through doors, walls, prayers. Her skin looked wrong, as if it didn't belong to her, stretched tight and cracked like dry earth. A dark, wet stain followed her wherever she crawled, but no one ever dared to look too closely, because if you looked, she looked back. Every night, she moved, not fast, not loud. She dragged herself from the well, through the fields, past houses, circling the village slowly, patiently, like she was counting doors. She was not hunting randomly. She was waiting for mistakes. The rule was simple. If anyone took water from the well after sunset even, a single drop she would come, and when she came, there was no running. Years ago, a young man named Elias scoffed at the stories. He was new to the village, having married a local girl, Lena. He saw the villagers hauling water barrels from a town miles away, their backs stooped, their faces grim. He saw the well, sitting right there, full and dark. It made no sense to him. It's superstition, he'd said to Lena one evening. The sun bleeding red on the horizon. Fear has made this village weak. I'll get water from that well, and I'll prove you all wrong. Lena's face went pale. She grabbed his arm, her fingers digging into his skin. No, Elias, please. It's not a story. But he was stubborn. He was a man of logic, not of whispers in the dark. As the last sliver of sun vanished, he grabbed a bucket and a rope. Lena begged him, tears streaming down her face, but his mind was set. The villagers watched from their windows, their faces pressed against the glass like ghosts. No one dared to step outside to stop him. The air grew heavy. As Elias approached the well, the usual night sound started crickets. The rustling leaves all went silent. It was as if the entire world was holding its breath. He threw the rope, the wooden bucket clattering against the stone rim before plunging into the black water. The splash echoed unnaturally loud in the dead quiet. He pulled, the rope slick and cold in his hands. The bucket felt heavier than just water. Much heavier. When he hauled it over the edge, he saw why. The water was black, thick like oil, and floating on its surface was a single, long strand of dark hair. He felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. Ignoring the knot of dread in his stomach, he tipped the bucket, pouring the dark water onto the dry ground. He turned his back on the well and walked home, trying to project an air of victory. Lena was waiting by the door, her body trembling. They locked the door, barred the windows, and huddled together in the dark. For an hour, there was only silence. Elias started to believe he had won. Then they heard it, a soft, wet, scraping sound. It was coming from the direction of the well. Scrape. Drag. Scrape. Drag. It was slow, rhythmic, and getting closer. Lena stifled a sob, burying her face in Elias's shoulder. The sound stopped right outside their door. Silenced again. A long, suffocating silence that stretched for what felt like an eternity. Then came a single, soft tap on the door. Not a knock. A tap. Like a single, wet finger. Elias's heart hammered against his ribs. He held his breath, praying it would go away. Another tap, a little harder this time. Then another, and another. The tapping turned into a scratching, the sound of broken fingernails dragging down the wood, searching for a way in. Elias crept to the window, his body shaking uncontrollably. He peeked through a tiny crack in the shutters, and he saw her. The well-bride was there, her broken body contorted on their doorstep. Her head was tilted at an unnatural angle. Long, wet hair plastered to the wood of the door. As they watched, her head slowly turned, as if she knew he was there. Two eyes, pale and luminous in the darkness, stared directly into his. They weren't angry. They weren't hungry. They were just empty, and they were looking right at him. He stumbled back from the window, a strangled cry escaping his lips. The scratching stopped. A new sound began, a low, gurgling whisper coming from under the door. It sounded like water flowing through mud, but it formed a word. Mine! The wooden bar on the door began to splinter. The thick oak groaned and cracked, not from a physical force, but as if the wood itself was rotting away in seconds. The metal lock rusted and crumbled into dust. The door swung open slowly, revealing the night beyond. She was gone from the doorstep. For a heart-stopping moment, Elias thought it was over. Then he heard the wet, dragging sound again. It was coming from inside the house. Lena scream. Elias turned to see the well-bride crawling across their floor, her twisted limbs pulling her forward, leaving a trail of black, stagnant water. She was moving towards Lena, her unblinking eyes fixed on her. Elias, fueled by a surge of desperate love, grabbed a heavy iron poker from the fireplace and ran at the creature. He swung it with all his might, aiming for her head. The poker passed right through her, as if she were made of smoke and shadow. It hit the floor with a loud clang, but she didn't even flinch. She continued her slow, relentless crawl towards his wife. Elias tried again and again, but his every attack was useless. He tried to pull Lena away, but it was like his feet were glued to the floor. He could only watch in horror. The well-bride reached Lena. She didn't bite. She didn't claw. She slowly, gently, reached out a hand with fingers that were too long and bent the wrong way. She touched Lena's cheek. Lena's scream cut off abruptly. Her eyes went wide and vacant. The color drained from her face, her skin becoming pale and translucent. A web of black veins spread from where the creature's hands touched her, covering her body in seconds. Her limbs twisted, her bones cracking and resetting into impossible angles, mirroring the form of the well-bride. She collapsed to the floor, no longer Lena, but a broken puppet. The well-bride let go and began to drag herself back towards the door, her new, silent companion twitching and then beginning to crawl behind her. Elias was left alone in his home, a broken man. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He just sat there as the sun rose, staring at the wet, dark trail that led from his living room, out the door, and all the way back to the well. He never spoke a full sentence again. He just sat on his porch, day and night, watching the well, waiting. And now, the villagers say, on the darkest nights, you can hear two dragging sounds coming from the well, one slow and ancient, the other new and hesitant. The village has a new rule now, whispered in terrified tones to the children. Don't take water after sunset. And if you see a man sitting on the porch, staring at nothing, don't ask him who he's waiting for. Because some mistakes don't just cost you your life, they cost you everyone you love, too. The well remains a black eye in the heart of the village, a constant reminder of the price of a single mistake. It's a story of how some rules aren't meant to be broken, and how some darkness, once invited in, never truly leaves. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Stay safe out there.